What's up? It's Big Mike, the Computer Dad, and today we are unboxing the UGREEN DXP2800 2-bay NAS. I was able to snag this on Facebook Marketplace brand new because the person that bought one of the units was actually shipped two of them, so I lucked out. This is me dipping my toe into NAS technologies to have a back-end storage location for all of the Proxmox environments I'm going to be building. I have a new 3-node cluster that I just stood up, and I have no idea what I'm doing, so I'm going to be learning this all new. I am a systems engineer by trade, so I do a lot of virtualization, but using VMware, Azure, or Hyper-V. I've not played around with Proxmox yet, and I've not had a home lab NAS until today. So we'll go ahead and get this unboxed, fire it up, and go through the base setup, and we'll start our journey on learning NAS technologies, virtualization with Proxmox, and back-end storage locations. I'm really excited to get this learning in, and I thank you for joining me. Let's go ahead and get started. So we have the NAS connected to the network. It's a little bit of a mess right now. I'm trying to figure out the power situation, but we have it plugged into a APC UPS, and then the NIC is connected into this patch panel, then patched into my 8-port Ubiquiti switch. And then here's that cluster of Proxmox nodes again. These are Dell 3060s with 32 gigs of RAM, 256 SSD in them, Jet KVM, so I can connect to them remotely. And yeah, we have the NAS set up here with the two NVMe SSDs. Those are the M2 drives with 256 each, and then the two 2TB Western Digital drives. Eventually I'll get bigger drives, but for now, that's what I had available. And everything looks to be singing. So we'll get online, connect to this, and see what we can get done as far as base configuration. Now that we have this connected to the network, I'm going to load the UI and go through the basic configuration of the box. This includes setting up the device name, my login, anything else that it requires as we go through this. And then my goal is by the end of this video, I'll have the storage set up and we'll click around the UI just to see what's there. I plan to do more with this later, record some content with it, but ultimately the goal is let's get this thing up and running and on the network, make sure all the drives are healthy, make sure everything's set up so that I can use it as a storage target. So switching over to the UI, we'll go ahead and get this a device name. And then we'll set the account name. And then we'll go ahead and set an email. Get verification code.
1 eternity later.
That took a while. That was like a 4-minute wait time. We'll go ahead and initialize the recommended updates. And we'll speed through this process again. All right, now we've landed on the homepage, so we'll go ahead and get started. It'll give us a little walkthrough. Control panel, App Center. Set the wallpaper, very important. Just checking all the different options on here. User management, file service, device connection, domain LDAP terminal, hardware, power. You can also connect a UPS to this, which I do. It doesn't seem to detect it. I'll have to look more into that. Time and language, network connectivity, all kinds of other features. It's good. I dig it. All right, now that we've kind of seen a little bit around the control panel, we'll go into storage and we'll start configuring the storage. All right, so flexible storage layout, real-time data monitoring, any errors, notifications. I have heard the device beep, so when I initially set this up, the RAM wasn't seated properly. I had taken off the bottom tray, and it issued a 5 beep in sequence notification, audible notification. So went back in, reseated the RAM, fired it up, no problem. But it does have audible notifications if there's some kind of failure with the system, especially at post or regular boot or any of the drives. So that's good. It'll annoy you until you fix it. All right, so we're going to create a storage pool. So I mentioned that I have the two 2 terabyte Western Digital hard drives, and then the 256 SSDs. So one of the things that you can do with the UGREEN, and this is the case for other NAS products that I looked at, is you can have a read-write cache configured for it, just for faster read-write behaviors. It'll write temporarily to that cache and then write it to the spinning disks just for sake of speed. In this case, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to have 2 configurations. I'm going to set these 2 disks up in a RAID 1, which will give me at least 1 drive failure in the array. We'll go ahead and hit next, and then we'll keep that as is, and then we'll create. And that's fine. There's nothing on there that I need, so we'll go ahead and create that. Looks like it's creating. And then you can see here, now that it's formatting, you have the option to, you change RAID type, you can storage pool expansion. I believe they have add-on elements to these NASs. You can get extensions, just like you can with Synology or others. You can buy the extender bays that are just additional drives that you can add to it. There's also a 4 bay, and I believe there's multiple versions of the UGREEN platform, but the one I saw the most is the 4 bay. But in this case, we're going to take a look at, you see that SSD cache management. I'm not going to do that, but I'm just going to click through it. So I can go in here, I can associate that, I can make it read or read write. I can select those SSDs, but in this case, I'm not going to go ahead and do that. So I'll create an additional storage pool, and I'll use these 2 SSDs, and we'll do that in RAID 1 again. So again, to have that 1 drive fault tolerance when we have the storage array set up. And then we'll go ahead and create that. And these will reformat those drives, so anything that was on them will be wiped. I had wiped them previously. I had done an brief unboxing video on LinkedIn for the UGREEN M2 NVMe SSD reader, this little external hard drive case. I actually have a little one in there right now. But this was something I used. I pulled SSDs from old devices that weren't functioning anymore, but they still had some useful life in terms of pulling RAM and other materials out of that, just for hardware availability or hardware, extra hardware for my other systems. So this actually worked out perfectly because I had 2 SSDs from decommissioning those other pieces of equipment to put into the UGREEN. I didn't have to go out and get additional hard drives. And for those that have had to source hard drives lately, it's like stupid expensive. So I'm glad I didn't have to spend extra money beyond what I already spent for the DXP2800. So this was a nice bonus. So we'll go ahead and format that. You may have heard my bedtime notification on my phone there. It's getting a little late. It's around 10:15 right now as I'm recording this, and we put the kids down not too long ago. So we're trying to wrap this up. All right, so we have storage pool 1, storage pool 2 with the SSDs. And this is about as far as I wanted to get tonight. So I wanted to do the unboxing video, configure the storage, make sure obviously the storage was healthy, make sure the system was healthy, make sure everything booted up. So I'm happy with where I've left off for this. The next step is I'm going to pop into the App Center. I'm going to take a look at what's going on in the App Center, what I can download. I've seen in here before, like, Jellyfin for entertainment, Home Assistant's a big one, Docker to run other virtualized containers. cloud drives, other things like that. And I know there's Image and others that are out there that have been big fan favorites to try to move things away from cloud storage and to a local appliance like this. And I'm trying to, as I build this out, keep in mind that 321 model for storage so that I can have some data redundancy. I'm not relying on if this unit fails or if both drives have a catastrophic failure, I'm not out of everything because I decided to offload all of my cloud storage onto a local physical disk, and then that physical disk dies. Ultimately, you have to take risks with doing things locally. If you can implement a 321 system and try to have some redundancy, data redundancy there, that is helpful. But in this case, again, just for the purpose of this video, unboxing complete, storage arrays and storage pool configurations complete. Next up is figuring out how to make this a target for that Proxmox cluster and get my first VM spun up. I want to build a server lab, Windows server lab that I can play around with and connect to a brand new Microsoft Entra tenant that I have with a brand new shiny E5 license, where they just unlocked a whole bunch of Intune and other features for the E5 licensing to test and validate over the rest of the summer and into the fall. So I have a lot of labbing and building to do. I'm excited to get this started. I'm very fortunate that I happened to find this UGREEN NAS the way I did, because I was looking to shell out a good chunk of change for it, and I got it at a pretty nice discount. I'm glad to have this in the home lab, and I'm excited for the next step. As always, I appreciate any feedback you can provide. If there's any questions you have about the setup or what I'm planning to do, please feel free to ask. If there's any feedback on the quality of the videos, the type of content I'm producing, I'm all ears. As always, I appreciate you watching. Thank you, and I'll catch you on the next one.